more. I tell you we want church.
I won't have to cry no more.
Hi, and welcome to another segment of Kiss. Keep it simple, sister. Keep it señorita, senora, sisters, saints of God. Surely we are coming to you again to another show, a very special show, a very special individual that really need no introduction. Praise God. When we come to the DATV, DSTV, whatever, this is the man that we're so glad to have catch up with the businessman and one of the businessmen in the Dayton area. I want to grow up to be like this man here. He has done so many things, but wait, let me tell you first. I'm going to let him introduce himself for a minute here, and then we get back to the show because we're going to talk about Mr. Steve Ross, the man, the legend, and his legacy. Mr. Steve Ross.
Oh, boy, I don't know how. Can we just end it right there? That's all we can. Thank you so much for inviting me to come in and talk to you about DATV, which is really why I'm here, I feel. So.
Well, we are talking about the man behind DATV, and his name is Steve Ross. Very modest, so I know we're going to have to do a lot to pull teeth to get a little bit out of him today. I mean, where do great men, even the modest, get started? You know, I think a lot of times in our childhood, and I say this so often, our lives start being shaped even at a very young age. Communication is something I've always been into. I go all the way back to when I was a paper boy. I said, oh, that was the beginning of some form of communication.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you feel led up to the legacy or the things that you have done in life?
Well, you know, just for like basically everybody watching the show and don't know who I am, but Steve Ross, I worked at DATV for 35 years. I was the operations manager for most of the time, and 10 years of that I spent as executive director as well. But I'll probably go backwards a little bit here, but before that I worked at Channel 22 for 7 years. Mm-hmm. Joe Smith, who was a figurehead at Channel 22, he worked on Clubhouse 22 after Malcolm McLeod, and did basically everything at Channel 22, host, anchor, all this kind of stuff. He gave me my shot.
All right.
Gave me my shot, my chance to get into the business. And so in a nutshell, that's who I am. But, you know, I lived here in Dayton, grew up in Dayton until I was 12. Uh-huh. My mom worked out at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. She worked on the first F-15A fighter that we built. And my dad worked on a punch press at Standard Register.
Okay.
And I lived here until I was 12. In 1974, we moved to West Virginia.
Okay.
So they decided to make a big move and go to West Virginia. And I spent 8 years down there. Love West Virginia. Love it. You know, and went to high school, college.
Yeah.
Did the typical thing down there. Played some ball in college, football and baseball, and then came back here to get into. Married my high school sweetheart. We're still married. It'll be 42 years this year.
Okay.
And came back to Dayton to get a job, and fortunate enough, as I said, to start off at Channel 22.
Yes.
Worked on Shock Theater. I was even Duffy the dog a couple of times.
Were you Duffy?
I was Duffy the dog a couple of times, but then worked on Shock Theater just as a production person.
Okay. So now we know who was behind the Duffy the dog.
Well, a couple times I was.
Yes.
But yeah, and that was a lot of fun back in the days working at Channel 22, and TV was a lot different than it is now.
Yes.
Took a lot more people back then to put together a program, whether it was a local origination show. I also worked on Steve Kirk's Late Night Theater. Okay. That was a lot of fun, but you had a lot of different people working to put a program together. Mm-hmm. You had your camera operators, your audio person, your director, assistant director, your producer, and it took all those people to do a newscast as well.
Okay.
Well, now it doesn't take as much. Everything is automated.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, and, I was thinking if I could just go a few years back as the young boy, Steve, what are the things that maybe something that you've seen on television, something that got you interested in communications or even when television right away? What do you feel those things that, now when I was at home, my mother always had a piano in the house, always had writing material, drawing material, and I feel my sister's a writer now. She's written 10 books. I got the gift of gab. I'm talking all the time. My brother, he's a pianist, pastor. We are pastors. But we look back to that home setting, and a lot of things that taken place from our childhood. Now, I know God told Jeremiah, he said, I knew you before I put you in your mother's womb. I already ordained what you would be. Well, what are some of the little things that in your very early life you felt to contribute?
Well, you know, I told you that my mom worked on the F-15.
Yes.
Very straight-laced, white-collar worker. Mm-hmm. But, you know, she also used to like to do things, the extracurricular activities at the base. She was the pitcher for the F-15 SPO at the time, softball. And she would act and sing on stage during the things that they were doing out at Wright Pat. She would come home, we had a piano and an organ, and she would do things. And, you know, so we were always doing singing and acting goofy, and my brother and my sister. And I used to call my mom a white-collar hippie because she would, during the daytime, mix it up with colonels and generals, the people at the high echelon of the Air Force Base. But at night she'd come home and she was just somebody totally different and fun. And so, you know, I was in high school, and like I said, I played a lot of sports. Okay. You know, went to college going to college to play some ball. And trying to find my way, and she knew that, you know, I kind of liked the ham and egg type of stuff. She goes, you ever thought about maybe doing TV stuff? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, no. So I said, okay, I'll take television production in college. Mm-hmm. So I did that at Fairmont State, and that's kind of what her inspiration kind of got me into what I went through life doing.
Yeah. What type of sports was you probably that you were involved in?
Well, in high school, I started in football, baseball, and basketball.
Okay.
And football and baseball got me to the next level.
Okay. So, well, I always tell everybody, tell me about wrestling that bear.
Well, I'll tell you in a few minutes. But, you know, and the one thing I am proud of, though, is our high school team was very good in baseball. Mm-hmm. We were one of the top 5 or 10 small high school baseball teams in the entire country. Won back-to-back state championships. I was a catcher and all that kind of stuff. And it was pretty neat stuff. We had I was an average player surrounded by all these great people. And I think, you know, I know, that's what my entire life has been. Okay. I'm an average guy surrounded by all these great people. And it's always been like that, you know, and trying to do the best I can, you know, because all these people were my mentors. Mm-hmm. You know, whether they believe it or not, they were my mentors. So, so I had a good time playing ball. Okay. But as soon as that was over, I knew that it was time to get to work. And where am I gonna get into the TV business? I'm going back to Dayton, Ohio. So I left Elkins, West Virginia, and moved back to Dayton, Ohio, and called Joe Smith every Monday and said, do you have a job? Do you have a job? A month later, he hired me and gave me a part-time job, and it was a blessing. And like I said, he was probably one of the most talented people that I've ever seen in this business. He could do it all.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I see a lot of that, and you had to do a lot. I mean, you know, the things. Did you ever do any singing and dancing? Performing. Singing and dancing, that's kind of funny because I remember one episode of Shock Theater. It turned into Saturday Night Dead, but it was with Dr. Creep. Uh-huh. And actually, it wasn't that show. It was Steve Kirk's Late Night Theater, and I dressed up like Frankenstein, and I did the whole, what is the... Lurch?
No, what is it? Putting on the Ritz thing, okay. And that was it. I was dressed up like Frankenstein, putting on the Ritz, because it's a famous part of Young Frankenstein.
Okay.
But no, that's as close. And Actually, I did, when I first started at Channel 22, one of the first things I ever did, it was actually the following year, is they put me on at 3 in the morning to do my impressions that I used to do back then.
Okay.
One of them was Rodney Dangerfield and those types of things. So,
Okay.
you know, I wasn't very good at that.
Come
but
on.
No, but they put me on at 3 in the morning because, hey, you know, we're dying at 3 in the morning. Steve, get up there and do your impressions. And that's when we were doing it at the Victoria Theater.
Okay.
And that was the MDA telethon. So that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun.
Give me a little Dangerfield impression.
No, I don't have any.
Surely you have
No, I
it.
haven't done it. But, you know, so it was a great time. And I really appreciated the 7 years that I spent at Channel 22. Started out as a production assistant.
Okay.
You know, we had to run art cards out to hod stands and put the camera in front of it. You know, the hod stands had the letters on it. Well, now, you know, you have the computers and the CGI and all that kind of, well, back then you didn't. You had to do press type letters.
Right.
And we had to go out there, and everything was manual, and it was just a ton of fun. And that was learning at the very bottom of production.
Yeah.
Painting walls, and nothing was out of, you know, the possibility of what you were going to have to do back in the day as a production assistant. I was blessed. I loved it. Sorry, I hit my mic. But I loved it, and it was the best time. I didn't care what I was doing. And, you know, eventually moved on, you know, started doing audio for newscast and assistant directing, which was really not unlike what goes on here when you have somebody doing the graphics and they say, put the name in. Sort of what the assistant director did at 22. And then I got into directing, doing news, doing commercial production, See You Please, Get Jerry Cohen, and
Concord City Clothing.
Concord City, and Buddy's Carpet, and doing a bunch of things like that. And but doing newscasts and working with some of the most amazing people, Carl Day, Marcia Bonhart, Janet McGill, the list goes on and on. These people were amazing. They were so talented. And I was very much in awe of the people I was blessed to be a party to. They taught me so much. They were such professionals, and they were so good at it. Actually, Carl Day and Marcia Bonhart have used DATV in the past. Marcia used to come in and host some of the Funk Chronicles. So talented. These people are so talented. And again, I was just in awe. And Johnny Walker, he worked there. And I have done several things. Used to do things with Johnny out at Hare Arena. We would do skits when I was at DATV. What a great talent he was. He could do it all too. And that was just so much fun back then. And then, the business changed like mid-'80s. Mid to late 80s, when everything went news. We want everything to be news, all about the news. And, people were losing jobs, and, hey, we need younger people, we need cheaper
labor.
Salaries, and it was a shame. But because there were so many talented people that right in front of me. So, but it was a blessing. To work at Channel 22 for the 7 years that I was there.
We attract likes, even though we are modest. We attract those things.
Well, you know what? And I think, and again, I'm a product of the people who were around me, who taught me, Mike Thomas, J.D. Walls. I mean, there's so many, Bob Thompson, Robin Denick, Derek Wilson. All these people taught me how to do the different positions at Channel 22. So I always tried to, at least in my mind, do the best I could to make those people proud of me working hard. I may not be the best at anything, but I tried to do the best I could possibly do and work as hard as I possibly could when I came to DATV.
You did a great job.
Access 30 back in 1989.
I was here for 20. When was considered 20. Then 30, Well,
it was Access 30, and you're right. Then it went to 20. There was 12 in there. Was Dayton Spiritual Television, and a lot of letter changes. And
Yes.
that was because of the cable system.
Yes.
They forced you to make those changes.
Yes.
But Roxy Cole, then again, another blessing, gave me the opportunity to come to work here. I didn't know anything about public access, you know, but I found it interesting, and we were across the street at 275 Leo Street, as you know, because you were already there. And that was a blessing. And Roxy was one of the driving forces of community television
Yes.
in this entire country.
Okay.
In the entire country. This organization started in 1978.
Okay.
She was executive director for 12 years.
Okay.
And a lot of talented people came through here. Jim Booker.
Yeah, that's what we call
and
Jim.
some of the other people.
Yes.
I mean, they came through here and they really made something out of this,
Yes.
this organization. It is a gem in the community.
It is.
And I can talk all day about DATV. You know, as blessed as I was to work at Channel 22, this is where my passion was and still is.
Yes.
So I'm still out there, even though I don't work here anymore, promoting DATV, trying to get the community involved
Yes.
and express to them the importance of what goes on here, regardless of what it is.
Yes.
This place is all about the people who utilize the facility.
Yes.
And it's always been my blessing to meet everybody who's come in here.
Yes. You don't say anything, but little Roxy Cole was a fighter, and some of that spilled off to Steve Ross.
You know-
Steve Ross, you picked up that fight that, you know,
What's
legacy.
funny about that is, because I tell people that, it took me 2 years to really understand, because I came from the world of broadcast television, right? It took me 2 years to really get it. And I don't remember exactly what it was that made me. The first two people I dealt with when I came in here was Clarence Hogan, Herb Burton,
Yes.
who did Our Opinion, and they were some of my mentors too,
Okay.
as well as you and your dear wife Frances.
Yeah.
And but it took me 2 years, and then once it really got into my blood that, wait a minute, anybody in the community can come into this place
Yes.
and do whatever it is. It's like, that's crazy. And when you tell people, it sounds crazy. You have a full-blown professional television station right here to get your message out to the public.
Yes.
And that's what it's all about. And again, it can be about anything. I have political commentary. Hey, I play an instrument. Hey, I can show you how to saw two boards in half. Hey, I'm going to get up there and mean-mouth my government, you know, or I'm going to say everything's beautiful and wonderful. Just don't sell anything because it's nonprofit.
Right.
And that's what I tell people. It's that simple. Just don't. You can say whatever you want. Just don't sell anything. It's nonprofit.
Yes. 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 You know, it's thinking about, I want to get to this because the fight that Steve Ross had, even as a young man, and I'd love to tell about it. You know, I just talk about it whenever I introduce somebody. About it. Steve Ross wrestled a bear.
Okay.
Can we get away from that bear wrestle?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I have pictures of this. Hopefully one will get thrown up there. So when I was working at Channel 22, I came back from West Virginia, and we actually lived in Gratis, which is right close to Eaton. And my dad had a business over there called Doc's Carryout. But anyway, friend of mine at the time said, hey, there's going to be a wrestling bunch coming into Eaton. There's, you know, a big-time wrestling group, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. You want to go? Yeah, they're going to have a bear. And it's a wrestling bear. And I was in pretty good shape back then, not big and fat now like I am now. But
you were a wrestler by profession at school.
no, I played football. I wish I did. We didn't have wrestling.
Okay.
But, so I kept mouthing off, I'm going to beat that bear within an inch of its life when I see him Saturday night. Seeing that, hey, don't forget when I get up there Saturday night, that bear's going to take a beating like nobody should be allowed to take a beating. So we go to the wrestling. You got to sign the waiver. It says, look, if this bear snaps you in half, you're in. So I get up there and I'm a little timid. Because they bring this bear out, and the bear was 750-pound black bear.
Wow.
Now, it had a muzzle on, and it had a chain. So if it started getting rough. So I said, and I'm like nervous. I was like, and I can't get out of it now because I ran my mouth all week, right? It's one of those things you talk and talk, and it's like, well, I can't get out of it now. And so they tell you when you're wrestling to get into it with the bear, walk up to the bear like this, because he'll stand up, and what he'll do is try to knock you down, and if you're on your stomach, he'll roll you over and pin you. Ding, it's over, right? The second guy who got in there and wrestled it went up like that. The bear knocked him down, rolled him over. His shoulder was in a crinkle in the mat of the wrestling ring. The bear came down, snapped that guy's arm, bigger than you know what. The guy's flopping around. Everything's moving except his shoulder. They got the EMS in there. You know, women are screaming, little kids are crying, you know, lights are going off, and they drag this guy out. And here's the story. So the funny part is, whoever does the best against the bear gets the trophy. Hey, you know, right? They drag this guy out, and you know, they have the gurney and all that, and the EMS is out there, and they go, okay, next up, Steve Ross. Steve Ross, you signed the form, Steve. Get up there. And I'm walking up in there into the ring because I got to fight the bear next. Yeah. So I said, okay, I got to do it now. It's do or die. I walk up to the bear. He goes to stand up. I jump back, and he goes down to sit down, and he's kind of wobbly. And I went, boom. I'm getting him now. So I walked up to him, he stood up, I jumped back, he sat down, and I leaped on that bear. And let me tell you something, let the butt whipping begin, because that bear tossed me from one end of that ring to the next. And my mom goes, and I got a picture because there was a guy from the paper, they rang the bell, because he was getting ready to pin me, and I pulled myself out from under him, I grabbed a hold of the rope. Well, his chain that he had snapped me right here, and I was bleeding. But I didn't know that because you're all hyped up, you know, fearing for your life. Oh, I got to get back up in there. Well, they're ding, 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 ding. And they had somebody from the Eaton paper taking pictures. So we called and got a picture of it. And my mom goes, Stephen, well, it looks like you pinned the bear. You pinned his ears back. That bear had a head that big. I was 21, right? 21. And that was probably the dumbest thing. But here's do I call this funny? Before I started wrestling the bear, I'm crawling up into the ring. I look over, and there's the EMS and one of the promoters from the wrestling handing the guy who got his arm snapped the trophy. You know, I'm back there, I'm crawling, I'm looking through the ropes, and I'm going, what in the world was that? So I'm going up in here getting destroyed, possibly my spleen dislocated from my body, and I'm not going to get anything. I feel I did the best with the bear. Yes. I didn't. You ain't pinning no bear. I'll never do that again. But anyway, there's a picture there somewhere. And but that's one I like to pull out every once in a while, and I like to show people.
Yeah. But that's the spunk I'm talking about. That fire, being able to fulfill or try to fulfill the things for you.
Well, you know what? You hit an interesting thing talking about Roxy Cole. She was full of vinegar, and you know what?
Yeah.
She had it. And she was so dedicated to community television,
yes.
And she was ferocious. And sometimes it was a little tough working for her. Yeah. But you know what? She beat that into you.
Yes.
And when I got into it, I started being as, you know, yeah, you know, this is our station.
Yes.
You know, people have to fight for this, and you have to keep it. And the folks from the city of Dayton, the folks that run this city, have been very generous, and they understand the importance of community television.
Yes.
Nothing like it anywhere.
Right.
And the people you meet in here are people, even from a staff person, former staff person, that you get to, you learn about the people that come in, you care about the people, they become family. Mm-hmm. You can't help it.
Right.
Sometimes you may not like or appreciate the show that they're doing, because some of them can be rough.
Yeah.
There's been some rough shows here, but you know what? You're here to promote freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, the people who volunteer for this organization, countless hours, whether it's making programs or helping staff go out and make shows in, for, and about the community.
Yes.
They spend 8, 10 hours, it's 85, 90 degrees out there, and then they want to stick around. As you and I, we've kind of gotten into, oh, I want to help set the truck up. I want to help tear stuff down. It's like, I can't ask. I felt so horrible. You were just here 8 or 10 hours. How can I possibly ask you to stay now? Okay, help us tear all this stuff down. You can't do it. It's just the dedication of folks, and the folks that come in here, you know, it's not, you know, feed the children or save the whales, but it's a way that people feel engaged with their community, and they are making great contributions in this community by their volunteer hours.
Yes.
And they're wonderful people.
Yes. And you know, we've had people come from across the country
Yes.
that have went to a lot of access stations, and I've heard their testimony that this is the best cable station in the whole United States.
We have won on a few occasions that award.
Okay.
Through the NFLCP or the Alliance for Communication, the best access station in the country, the best in programming. And that's because, and you know what, we may not have some of the equipment because we don't have the money to get a lot of that equipment. Money has dwindled.
Yes.
But it's because of the public's use of the channel, of the facility. That's what it's really about.
Yes.
You know, they can come in and go, oh yeah, this is pretty nice stuff, but then they start seeing everything that's being produced by you guys, and they're like, wow, this is really amazing. And for those who don't know what the staff's role is, so we take the money and, you know, we built the facility and we are administrators of the facility, but we're also the administrators of the teaching, of the overseeing, of the helping. So we will teach you how to make your own TV show in this beautiful facility, and we will give you all the help you need. We're going to teach you how to use the cameras and how to edit and how to shoot and how to use the control room equipment. And we are here only for the community. We're not here for any other reason. And you know, one of the first things that I always tell people when I would hire them, you have to be able to get along with these people that come in here because we rely so heavily on them. But it also shows a lot about your character, that because the people that come in here, 99% of them are so humble by the opportunities that this organization provides. And again, they're so easy to get to know the public, and a lot of people out in the public appreciate us being there, because what we do, as you know, we'll take these shows, like this show, we'll run multiple times on, we have 2 channels. DATV is public access, it's whatever people want to do, and that's Channel 5 in Dayton and surrounding area. But then we have Dayton Spiritual Television, Channel 992, and there's about 70, 75 churches making shows for that channel a week.
Yes.
That's the only reason this place is what it is.
Yes.
I mean, it's the people using it, yes. I think that the staff here does an excellent job in the training and keeping the equipment up and purchasing and keeping the new technology in your hands. But it's about the people who are utilizing it.
I would that Roxy had seen the spiritual part here. I don't know that you and Melissa was instrumental in getting the second station here.
Yes,
because
we
talking
were.
with Roxy Cole back in the day, she told me personally her dad was a pastor, and I didn't know that. Yes, and we got some very close talk, and she was so beautiful person that she requested my wife and I see her in her last hours, and I thought that was an honor. And she would tell my wife, and she said, Francis, she would say, you know, the pain I'm in, I'm on morphine. It's so bad I can barely stand it, but the doctor says it's going to be 800 times worse. She said, I don't think I can take that. She said it almost like, I got to go to the grocery store. She was a really strong, strong woman.
She was. And like I said, very devoted to what goes on here. And that was 1992 is what you're talking about. And so I've been here for, except for the original, I've been here for all of the franchising and contract negotiations between, at the time it was the cable company, the City of Dayton, and Access 30, DATV. So I know the history of all of that. And you're right. Now this I won't have right because it's been a long time now. But I'll say in 1992, we were up for renegotiation, and we got a second channel. Okay. So all of us as staff members got together and we had meetings and what do we want to do with the second channel? And honestly, it was a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. Let's make it a spiritual channel, a religious channel.
Yes.
And it has just taken off, and it's been a blessing to the community. And as you know, we stream 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so it's worldwide. Both of our channels are televised worldwide. Okay. So if you go to datv.org, you can go to View DATV Now or View Dayton Spiritual Television Now, and you'll see what's playing.
Okay.
But it's all because of the hard work and dedication that Roxy Cole started.
Yes.
And again, she beat that into all of us from the days when I started here and I brought Dan Cefaletto in, who's doing a great job at Public Health, Montgomery County.
Yes.
Rick Latimer was a blessing.
Yes.
He was a production assistant. Everybody loved him. Melissa Melissa Mills Constantine was the program director and did an excellent job. And before Dale, who's the volunteer coordinator now for many years, it was Dorothy Beatty. Yes. Thornhill Beatty.
Yes, Beatty, yes.
And she was the volunteer. And it seemed like we always had the right person in the right position. Mm-hmm. And it really comes from, you have to have, again, affection for the community.
Yes, yes. Yes.
And I remember Melissa,
yes.
God rest her soul, miss her, but people would come up to her and go, hey, I'm trying to get a group of people together at my house so we can all watch the show together. And she would say, oh, what day will you do it? And she would move programming around to make that happen.
Yes.
That's hard work.
It is.
And so she did a great job, but Dan and Rick and Dorothy, Dale, the people who are operating it now today, now it's Randy Phillips, who's the executive director, doing a great job. Leslie, who is now the program director, doing a great job. We're thankful to have Jason as a production assistant, along with Denise and Elizabeth. They all do an amazing job keeping the spirit of what this Access Center was created.
Have been family.
Yes.
Even the Hayes in Indiana, we've always been one big happy family.
Yeah.
We had picnics together, and I think of what was it, Cindy Marie and her father and mother was here, families coming together, and I cannot express the cohesiveness that brought us together.
Yeah.
I was crazy. I was younger, and when I wasn't working on the road because my job. We'd go and picnic, and I would try to stuff Francine in the open trunk. I would try to stuff Francine, Melissa, and we were family. It was just that type of thing that have spread. And even today, I know you are always giving accolades to others, but I wanted more or less to talk about Steve Ross because the fire that you're giving the others so much right here that many don't really know. I was amazed sometimes. I would come here, and I remember I told you was going to be the director. Oh, no, I'm operation manager. I said, yeah, okay.
I did the executive director thing for 10 years. But I was also the operations manager, too.
Yes.
And that kind of happens now with Randy. It's like, all right, now what do you see? Now it's tough, isn't it? But he's doing a great job.
Yes. And I come back, and guess who was the executive director?
Yeah.
Steve Ross.
Yeah. Dad Brent. But a lot of that though, but you're right. It's the person in front of you, right? Yeah. Before you, Roxy. Before that, it was Joe and Mike and Derek and Dion and all those people I was telling you about. They kind of breathe that into you.
Yes.
And I was fortunate in 2022. Joe Smith called me, and Joe Smith is part of the Broadcasters Hall of Fame in Dayton. Mm-hmm. Nominated me, and they inducted me into the local Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I didn't want to do it. I said, look, we got to take DATV in. They go, listen, go in, and then you can just give your accolades to DATV, but you're going in, Joe told me. And I can't turn him down. He's one of the legends in television history here, along with Johnny Walker and those guys.
Yes.
And it's like, and plus he gave me my first shot, and I wasn't going to turn him down. I have so much respect for him.
Yes.
But, and it's like, what, you know, that was such, it was so humbling. It was very humbling.
Yes.
I'm up there giving my speech and all these other great names that in front of the camera. I've hosted a few shows here and that kind of stuff, but that's not me. I'm the behind the scenes person.
I know a lot of you guys.
You know, and so I was very fortunate to get that, but it really to me is a tribute to the people who molded me and yelled at me and nudged me, and because I had a lot of that.
Yes.
You know, and so I was happy to be a part of all that, and just so blessed to be a part of this organization for 35 years.
Yes.
But it's in such good hands now.
Yes.
I mean, it is.
But you've always been very modest and always taken it back. But I know myself, I would come past the station sometime, who out there maybe even cutting the grass and painting the building, or see some defect. Who's out there? The executive director? Steve Ross. I mean, you a legacy. You're an example. I mean, if we don't have an example, you were a perfect example of a person. In fact, you made this station yours. In other words, very few owners can find someone that would step in and treat their business as they own it. And I have to give that to you. You actually here at DSTV made this yours personally. Well, I mean, from trimming the grass and painting the building. And if anyone come in this building and look at the podcast room, I sat there and watched you build that podcast room for nothing. Labor in addition. So, and you might not want to bow.
But one person I did not thank, and I need to, because he was a friend of mine, and he has passed on, but Al Balcom, worked with him at Channel 22, but then he worked for Channel 45 as an engineer.
Yes.
And when I came over here, I was a production person. I knew nothing. Well, I asked Al, hey, Al, would you like to come over and work part-time? And we were already close, and I really cared a lot. But he taught me the hands-on I am not an engineer. But I play one on TV. There's a lot of things I know how to do, but I give anything that, you know, I know how to do, it's because of Al, but then it's because of all the nudging that everybody else gave me in my life. It's like, I want to make this place better for the community, because you guys deserve it. I mean, you really do. The hard work. I was talking to Brother Lester today. He does the church programming. He does the programming, the recording for one of the churches. Well, he's got one arm bandaged up to here, and the other he just had operated on. Well, there he is, toting out the camera today. Hadn't seen him in a few months. And he's going out to do his business, right? At the church. Well, we have another one. We have Richard Green and Harvey Overton. And don't get mad at me, Richard and Harvey, but they're getting up there. Richard's had some things, health things, but yet every week, like you come in and you drag that stuff out to your churches to do your programming for the community. So when you see that kind of stirs something in me. It's like, man, I've got to do something to make this place better for them. And because you see just unrelenting, I don't know, exuberance by the members to come in and do that. Because here's the thing, the most religious producers here are the religious producers. They come in every week and check out. We got 20 cameras here, portable cameras, and every week those folks are coming in and making it happen. And just like the folks who are in the control room now. Look, here's what I tell everybody. I said, here's the deal. When you think about volunteering or whatever, you can go, hey, I'll go do this. Nah, I'll just stay home and watch reruns of Jerry Springer. Well, the folks that are in the control room now, same thing. They're in here all the time. They're making shows. It's Cheryl, it's Robert, and the new young man, Aaron. They're in there making this show happen. They're not paid. They're volunteers. And that is, like I said, when you buy into that, when I bought into it 2 years after being here, I went, oh, it was like a religious moment. It's like, this place is so daggone cool. what goes on here. And it's fun. One of the things that I really like doing is every year I'm grateful that Randy asks me to come back and help with tours sometime because I get very excited.
Yes.
But we host the kids from Bosnia-Herzegovina. We've done it, I don't know, 3 or 4 years in a row now. So, and they were brought in by the Dayton Mediation Center, I think, Bosnia. These are high school kids.
Yes.
They have nothing like this here. We run them through all the classes as quickly as we can because they're only here like 5 hours.
Okay.
But they're making shows. There's like 25 of them. They're making shows. They're behind the cameras. They're directing, and they get so excited. And you know, after you break through the barrier of, you know, hey, I'm from a different. They're just like any other teen.
Oh yes.
Because I joke with them. I like to have a good time.
Yeah.
And so I razz them like I do any of the young folks who come in here. And it's so fun to see them, and they go, you know, we're not encouraged to do this in our country. They don't have anything like this.
Right.
And let's face it, those kids have seen war.
Yes.
They've seen some ugly stuff. And it's a blessing to introduce them to, oh, how can I do this at my home? And I said, well, you know, you can buy this like a podcast. They did podcasting when they were here, the studio shows, the equipment. And I go, see this mic? Just a simple mic. You can get this mic for $20 at any store, Walmart or whatever you have access. This is a cheap mic, and you can hook it up to your computer. They all have computers.
Yes.
And you can start a podcast.
Yes.
And here's how you can start it, and we teach them how to do podcasting.
Yes.
It's just a blessing to do that. And I love giving tours.
Yes. And this is what I'm talking about, unsung. Right here in Dayton, unsung. All the things and characters, and you are very much a part of that. Very much a part of that. And I just sit there and listen. You're always giving to others and giving them accolades, but so often you don't share. Well, I guess I understand the greatness, the part of this television studio, this entire operation have Steve Ross written all over it.
Well, but you know, honestly, it has written all over it. Yes, I did almost all the technical stuff here, a lot of it. But you know, you had the people, like I said, we were talking about Dale and Leslie and Melissa and everybody who came before, and Dan did a great job of marketing this place back in the day.
Yes.
And he was a really good producer and all that. And these are all and we all teach the classes. We all taught the classes,
Yes. Yes.
right? But it's really why it's great are the people who come in. And here's what I like about the tours. And if anybody wants me to give them a tour, just call Dale and say, have Steve give me a tour.
Yes.
When they come in, they're blown away by what this place is, and blown away by seeing you and her and them and those kids utilizing it. They're just regular people.
Yes.
You don't have to be a scientist or have a degree or whatever. You know, it's a simple, if you want to make a show, we'll teach you how to set up that camera. Dale will grab you, or Jason will grab you and set up the camera and show you how to put the mic on. Hit record, okay, do your show. What? That's all I got to do? That's all you have to do.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, it's a team effort here. It always has been. And like I said, Randy has done a good job, very good job of keeping this mission alive, plus he's trying to do fundraising. The biggest thing that we face now is funding. And, you know, I'm going to be just dead honest. We used to, the cable company, we get our largest amount of money comes through franchise fees collected by the city of Dayton from the cable company. Well, why is the city of Dayton able to collect money from the cable company? It's because the cable company uses the public right-of-way. They're able to run their cables over the parks and over the sidewalks and under the streets and all that kind of stuff. And at one point, DATV got a portion of the cable company's internet fees.
Okay.
Well, because of statewide franchise legislation and it's an ugly story, that money got taken away.
Okay.
So the money that we used to get for internet fees, that's gone. And cable companies are losing revenue because people are streaming, and if the cable companies are able to get their services changed to a different language, they won't have to pay franchise fees to the city of Dayton anymore. So, but franchise fees have been going down, dropping rapidly. And so the funding for this organization has dropped drastically. Randy has done a very good job of opening up that door of fundraising.
Okay.
I wasn't a fundraiser, neither was, and I was executive director number 5 here.
Okay.
But none of the other none of the other directors were fundraising directors. Randy has that ability,
Yeah.
and he is trying to make that happen. You know, it's a tough road to hoe,
Yeah.
but he's doing it. He's doing a good job, but we are just very thankful and grateful for the support that the city of Dayton, and the city of Dayton is the mayor and the 4 commissioners.
Yes.
They're the ones that go, you know what, it's important. They've all used this place
Yes.
in different facets. They've all been in front of the camera like we are right now,
Yes.
or they've gone into the podcast room. Whether staff initiated or because there's a lot of organizations who use DATV too because they want to promote their organizations, they'll drag in, you know, a commissioner or the mayor or a county commissioner, and you know, and those folks, and they make them part of the show, which makes them part of the organization, I feel.
Yes.
Hey, they have a connection. They see the importance of being in front of this because remember, yeah, it's community television, it's public access. You know, it has its, you know, stigmatism that, it's public access. But you know what? It's because of what it is and what it stands for. Anybody can walk in these doors and make a show about whatever they want.
Yes.
And that's the power and the importance. And they're going to get excellent training by the staff here at DATV because that's their only mission. Their only mission is to help you get your message out there to the community. It's freedom of speech, and that's powerful.
Yes. You know, I think about passing the baton as in a race. And I often say, when we pass the baton to someone else, another generation, pass it with some fire, not a torch that's gone out. But you possess that fire, and I understand when you're saying you would give them a tour because you have the passionate heart. Some people might share something, but they don't have the heart to share it, and they don't reach that person. But the fire you're talking about, and you know, a lot of times people look for a degree or a piece of paper, but some of the greatest people, some of the greatest work, they don't have a degree. They don't have a master, they don't have a doctorate, but they have a heart and they make more headway. And I often say, some of the greatest cooks never wrote one cookbook.
Right.
But someone walked in and got the information from them, from their knowledge, and developed a cookbook.
You're exactly right. Some of the best employees that have worked here
Yes.
never had a degree.
Yes.
Doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You know what? If you have a passion, and I always talk about Wayne.
Yes.
I always talk about Wayne. He was an older gentleman. Everybody loved Wayne. He was a member here. He made a program for the religious channel. Everybody loved him. I saw his passion for what he was doing. Not as technical as some, as you may or may not. It's fine. I'll teach Wayne what he needs to do because he's wonderful. Rick Latimer was wonderful. And now, Wayne didn't have a degree.
Yeah.
Melissa didn't have a degree. Rick Latimer did. Rick was a wonderful person too.
Yeah.
But it's not about, I'm not naming names who has a degree and who doesn't.
Yes.
But the people here, I always joke around. Dale is the volunteer coordinator. And I always go, persnickety. Well, everybody loves Dale, and they do love Dale. Everybody loves Leslie. They love Jason. They love Denise. They love Randy. They love all the people who are in here because they know, I mean, those people exude the personality for what this organization is built on.
Yes.
And that's to serve the community. Because again, and I keep saying we, I can't get it out of my system, but we rely on you. Hey, can you guys help us? And the folks in there, like I said, Cheryl, Robert, Aaron, hey, can you guys help us cover the Christmas parade? Well, you know what? It's not a balmy 70 degrees out there at the Christmas parade.
No.
Everybody's a volunteer except for the 1 or 2 staff members that go out there and set up the equipment and get it ready. The host, everybody out there, it's minus 15 degrees with the wind chill. Everybody's a volunteer. Greg Forsoff, all these other folks. Greg is a big-time volunteer here. These are all people who just come in because they love what goes on here. And you know what? They're good. They're good at it.
Yes, they are.
They are very good at it.
Yes. And I think when I was RTA driver, I can't tell you how many, one of my routes go right past Broadcasting College up here in Smithville. And I would get some of the guys ride with me. And it was 2 years, maybe of theory and a year of history before they could touch any equipment. And I used to direct, go down to DATV.
Yeah.
Within a couple of weeks, you have hands-on.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. I don't know how many we all got to come down here.
Well, and when they, like I said, when they look around, and like I said, I'll give you the tour because I love it.
Yes.
When you look around, you're going to go, what? I can come down here. I can use all this stuff. And so to give a plug for the DATV memberships, it is, your first year is $50. Well, people always go, well, yeah, but if I want to do this, it's 50. But what if I want to go over there? And it's like, it's part of your 50. Don't ask that again. Yeah. And then when you rejoin the following year, because you will rejoin because it's so cool, it's $35. You have a multi-million-dollar facility here that stands on the principle of freedom of speech.
Yes.
And you will get the help because everybody here, the volunteers, just like you, he's not a rocket scientist. He's a guy who wants to do a show.
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, so you have KISS, but I remember one of the first shows you did here when I started here, Show Enough Gospel.
Okay.
And that was 100 years ago. That was,
come on.
That was 1990, 1991.
You don't say, yeah.
You don't say. Yeah, those shows. But it talks about longevity.
Yeah.
And we have several people who have been here for a long time, and I can tell you that the staff, most of the staff has been here a long time. Randy, who's the executive director, he was a volunteer here, and I'm not going to get these numbers right, but he was a volunteer here, went on the board. It was like 15, 20 years. And finally it's like, yeah, we want Randy to take over. And became the executive director. Dale's been here 25, 30 years. Melissa was here.
42.
I was the longest full-time. I was here 35 years, but Melissa was the longest. She came in full-time right after I did, but she was part-time for 7 years. She was here 42 years.
She's come and volunteer too at the beginning.
Well, she was a volunteer. She was part of, Roxy hired her through a school program back in the 80s, and she was here. Dorothy was here 20 years. Dan was here Dan was here 20 years almost. I mean, and I think that speaks volumes too. People don't just go, okay, I'm leaving. It's like, no, this is kind of cool what I'm able to do here. And what that is to teach you, to help you. Because every time we teach and we help, we learn how to do things too. And then, a lot of times we marvel at what's going on. I can't believe they just did their first show. That was pretty cool what I just saw. I've seen Cheryl come out and do amazing things in front of the green screen, which I laugh and I have a great time, and it's amazing. Daryl Bohannon, the longest LGBTQ show in the entire country. 26 years, done right here, and he sends it to different cities throughout the country. It's all about that. It's all about that. It's all about you making a difference with this technology.
I used to tease Melissa. Melissa, you have been here 42 years. I said, but you got paid. I had to volunteer 41.
Yeah. But you're right. There's been a lot of great people that come here, and it's like family, and you can't help it.
Yes.
So I'm always blessed when I'm able to come back in and then see some of you folks.
Yes. We're always glad to see you. Like I said, you're an icon here at the station to me.
Thank you.
And when I see you, I say, hey, Steve Ross, I missed your leaving that day because they had a party and didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Going away party. But Steve, we love you. And I know our 10 minutes is almost over with because you said you only had 10 minutes to talk here today.
Yeah. My wife said the same thing. She goes, you won't have a hard time once Clarence gets you going. It's so easy to talk about what goes on here.
Yes. But tell me, if you want to look at the camera, whatever in summary you might want to say to whoever may be watching this, whether YouTube or whether local cable, wherever this may go, from your heart. And I'm so thankful that you're also a spiritual man too. You love the Lord. And
you know what? You have the ability to make a difference in your community here. You cannot walk into one of the other TV stations, not at their detriment, and say, put me on, I have something to say. You can change somebody's life by what you do with this facility. You really can. And it's totally up to you. And real quick, since this is 24 hours a day, I was telling somebody this the other day, Hand of God story. One of the religious programs didn't get on the air at one point. Something happened. And we got a call from somebody, and I think it was like Oklahoma. Hey, that's my sister church, whatever, you know.
Nah.
But it's my sister station church, and we always look forward to watching that on the internet. What happened? And you know, they're ripping Melissa up and down and all this kind of stuff, and Melissa got upset, and I said, don't get upset. That is a blessing that you just heard that from somebody calling from a completely different state, that program that was produced right here was making a difference somewhere else.
Yes.
Just like those kids from Bosnia. Have your teachers, whoever brought you over, Melissa will give you a list of when it's going to be on the streaming channels. And you'll be able to watch your teen rap, Bosnian teen rap.
Yes.
I've got a freeze frame of that too. Bosnian teen rap, and you'll be able to see and tell your friends. And because, you know, a lot of times kids get in front of the camera, but when you teach them the power of what's happening with this, make a difference in your community by volunteering here or making a show. And a show is so easy to do.
Yes.
Point the camera and give everybody your message.
Yes.
It's a blessing.
Thank you. Here we are. KISS, keeping it simple. Steve Ross, the man, the legend, the legacy. May God bless you. May heaven smile on you is our prayer.